Hey everyone, welcome back to Prairie Grown Reviews. We review books, games, movies, and TV shows. Today, we are back for WandaVision, episode 4. We interrupt this program. So, boys, some non spoiler thoughts. What do you think?
I'm
I'll
not
go
going
ahead.
first.
Okay, I'll go first then. Super fun episode. It was way different than what we're used to, even though the whole WandaVision like TV series is not what we're used to anyways. But this takes it even a step weirder. I guess not weirder, more in like the traditional Marvel sense. Um, Super fun episode.
Yep.
Definitely really enjoyed it. Probably the hypest episode so far. Reveals a whole ton, which we'll get into later, and just overall great.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this one. This is probably my favorite episode to date, but it's also probably it's on, like Nathaniel said, it's on brand and off brand at the same time. Totally out of left field for the TV series as a whole, but it's right on that Marvel path that we're used to. So I really enjoyed that. It has a little bit of a Agents of Shield for anybody who's seen that TV show. Sort of has that kind of a vibe. We sort of take a step back to that, and I really enjoyed the first couple seasons of that. We're not going to talk about the last couple seasons. We're just going to move right past that. Not a chance. But I really enjoyed this episode, and I think we have a lot of good things to come in the next 5. So
Yeah, I'd say this is also my favorite episode of the season so far. It's a very different direction, as they both said, for this show, but it is a more traditional Marvel type thing, movie or show, and I highly enjoyed it. It answered a lot of questions. It had a really stellar opening. It kept me on the edge of my seat. I kept wanting to know more and more. And if it left me wanting more for the next 5 episodes, which is something that TV shows should do, and I think this one did that successfully. Actually, I'd say each episode this season has done that successfully.
absolutely.
So, if do you guys have any more non-spoiler thoughts?
Um, nope.
Not that I
This
can
is a
think of.
bombshell of an episode for anybody
Yeah.
who's unaware. Other than that, great
Yes,
episode. Super excited for the rest. Deadly cliffhanger.
me
That's
too.
all I got.
Mhm.
So we are about to move into our spoiler section. So for all of you who have yet to see the episode, go watch the episode and come back to see our thoughts. So now we're going to drop the bombshell and just get right into it, boys. Spoiler time. So I just want to start with the intro because that was just a shock. We get to
No kidding.
see, in my opinion, like a more kind of like on the ground feel of what it'd be like if all of a sudden millions upon millions of people just came back. And this is in a building, so it's like even more cramped. What do you guys think of that scene? Like, I loved it.
Weird note.
Wow.
I'm
Yeah.
just gonna make a suggestion here. This is a question I have. So we see them in the hospital. We see, oh my goodness, I'm blanking on her name. Oh
Monica?
No,
my
no,
goodness.
Monica,
Yes,
Monica.
yes. Why did I
Monica.
blank that? So that was brutal. So we see Monica in the hospital, right? She just come back from the blip, right? And there's people appearing left and right from the blip. This is completely irrelevant, but I wonder what would happen if you were standing in the exact place that somebody else was as they were coming back. Would you like become conjoined
Oh.
twins?
That'd be nasty. I don't
That'd
want to
be
think about that. That's some like whack
Rumor I've
physics
heard
crap.
is that
like
in Tony Stark's brain, when he snapped, he asked for everyone to come back safely. Because that explained the loophole that people kept saying, like, what if you were in a plane? Are you going to pop up in the air and
in the
fall?
air.
No, he asked for everyone to come back safely. So they all were in a safe spot. They could come back near where they were. So if they were in a plane, they'd
I
probably be back
mean,
at the airport.
okay, well,
But
the guy came out of like his blipping and it ran straight into like Monica's like shoulder. So I don't know how safe
yeah,
that was.
Well,
uh,
he's in a
I
hospital. He'll be
mean,
okay.
yeah,
Somebody like
exactly.
overrun that hospital. Like like half the people have blipped away. So like half the
Like
population of
almost
that hospital coming back. So it's a lot of people.
Yeah.
kidding.
This was our first scene before the Marvel intro, which was
Yep.
yeah, that was kind of interesting. So that
Absolutely.
was so yeah. Let's just what were your highlights of the episode? Just moving on from that, like just go right into highlights.
There's a lot. This whole episode drops so many bombshells everywhere. Like
It
so
did.
many characters returned. Agent Wu, I think one of my more favorite like side characters besides Coulson before he died. But
Absolutely.
anyways,
Absolutely.
yeah, Agent Wu is like the hilarious awkward agent, which is wonderful because he like brings so much comedic relief, but he also gives like a nice some good info, good intel. He's like still an agent, still does his job.
Yep.
But he's super awkward about it. Like it's so great.
Yep.
I loved his close-up magic that he did, just like he was trying to learn from Scott.
Yep.
In Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yep. And this.
What were you going to say, Austin?
I was going to say that I really enjoyed the fact that this almost felt like we watched the first 3 episodes, and then somebody's like, "Okay, you've seen it from the screen. Now let's digest what actually happened." Right? We get some characters from multiple different movies that sort of connect those back together, which I thought was really cool. Seeing Darcy again was awesome. She is just like Agent Wu almost, sort of that cross between some comedic relief, but she also provides some really, really important information and plot stuff, right? That sort of pushes us forward. We wouldn't really have the whole watching the simulation, whatever you want to call it, without her knowledge there. I do love that the 3 other people in the van just fell off the side of the earth once that episode started. Hey,
didn't
you just never see
Boy
them.
Scout open like the door for Darcy, and then
maybe.
That was like the last time you saw him?
We didn't see the other 3.
Yeah, he was
we didn't see the other 3 like after that. As soon as she got inside that room, they were just gone.
They probably got put to different sectors, right? They're all doing different things. So
because they're all like because we had the one dude who's like AI, artificial intelligence based. You had the one who was like
nanobiology or something.
Nanotech. And there wasn't he like a chemical engine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty much Boy Scout.
That's exactly what he was.
Yep.
But yeah, they didn't. What was the biggest thing that caught me off guard was the fact that so this was a missing persons case. They had no idea that Wanda was gone and that this had anything to do with any Avengers or anything like that. They just thought. But then when Monica gets there, and for those of you. Though you have seen the episode, Monica's Geraldine, but Monica, when she gets to Westview, she's talking to Jimmy, and then they find out that Westview doesn't exist in anyone's mind anymore, or at least anyone from that New Jersey area, like just doesn't exist. A town disappeared, and so then you're wondering, if no one remembers, what does that mean? And then what does it mean for their family who are outside? So no one remembers. And then, no one knew that Wanda was gone. No one knew Wanda was a part of this. So that was a big shock to me because I assumed they knew this was Wanda's, either prison or creation. We'll get into more of that as we go. But, did you guys think they knew about Wanda? I definitely thought they did.
Hard to say. I mean, Avengers stuff has always been classified and, super high intel people only really know about it. So Mr. Lowly Agent Wu wouldn't really know about that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And throughout the whole episode, you see him not get any intel at all, even though he's like a FBI agent. He doesn't get anything. So
nothing.
It's hard to say.
He's not Sword.
No, exactly. I really did appreciate when Darcy, going back a little bit though, when Darcy first walks through those doors and just asking a whole bunch of questions about what they know as to what's going on, and was that the director? I don't remember exactly who it was, but somebody beside her goes, it was a sword agent of some clearance level, but he went, "It's classified," and she just turned, looked straight at him, and was like, "So you guys really know absolutely nothing, eh?"
Yeah, that was
I just
great.
thought that was
I love that.
So funny.
Darcy, this whole episode was
Yeah.
Going off on calling everyone and be like, "No,
I am smarter than all of you. Get over it." It was awesome. I really enjoyed her character throughout this episode.
And she gotta be bigger than she's ever been, really, because in the Thor movie she was really just comedy.
Yeah.
And now she got to she was more helpful. She was helpful in the Thor movies, but she wasn't. She was just an intern. Now she's a full-on doctor.
Yeah.
Because in Marvel
crazy.
timeline, it's been 10 years since Thor: The Dark World.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
She's done good.
Mm-hmm.
She has. So we get an answer as to that helicopter we saw in episode 2 as well. It was a drone.
Yep.
So I was not expecting that, but I do. It does show, as we see throughout the episode, how the second someone enters Wanda's reality, it is altered to fit her reality. We see quite a few examples of that throughout the episode, but I do find that highly interesting. Yep. Just like the beekeeper. What do you guys think? Beekeeper. Actually, we never see him again, so I'm kind of worried what happened to Mr. Beekeeper there. who
So he
sword
didn't get
agent.
ejected. Geraldine got ejected, but or sorry, Monica got ejected. But that guy is. I
He
don't know
got
what happened.
he got rewinded, so I don't know what that means. Like, did he just get dissolved? Like, that is,
He got
this
whipped.
episode does a really good job of closing any sort of loose ends and stuff that we had from the first 3 episodes, but that's
Opens
still a
up more.
major hole that's wide open. Like, we now know who, like, where he came from, why he
Mhm.
was there, right? I don't know why they thought there was no field underground. That made no sense. But
Yeah, it's like an energy field. Why would the ground stop it?
you can't
So,
see what's happening inside it, but it's only going to be a
Yeah, you
semicircle.
can't press up like yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
a sword, sword.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. What do you guys think of sword actually? Just to like, because they're kind of like shield. For the it's short sword stands for Sentient Weapon Observation Response Division. So they are kind of like shield.
Yep.
Turns out they've been around since like the 90s, since the events of Captain Marvel, first established by Maria Rambeau. But like I'm kind of interested to see their future in Marvel because I think they're going to have a big one. Actually, I have a theory about that. That the space station Nick Fury was on at the end of Far From Home was a
Tahiti?
sword station. Yeah, kind of like Tahiti, where he was.
Is
For
that the
those of
same
you
thing?
who've seen Agents of Shield,
I have a running theory that that's where Coulson went to, but that may be false. We're just gonna roll
no,
with it.
maybe, but I thought Coulson was still on Earth, but this looked like it could be a sword station for all we know.
Yeah, very well.
Yeah,
Overrun with Krell.
with Skrull. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So we have realized also that yeah, like I think Austin or Nat mentioned, like they can actually watch what's happening.
Yep.
So it is kind of like they're watching a normal sitcom.
Yep.
But that makes me think that like everything that's happening in there is actually happening. Because they can like it's not just it's like yeah, and there's more evidence to that later. But like, what do you guys like for at the to skip all the way to the end of the episode, we see Monica get thrown out as we saw at the end of the last episode, and she's still wearing her clothes from that 70s themed episode.
Yep.
Do you guys really think like when this is all over, when the simulation's broken, that everything that happened in there will stay like real,
Well,
like her
first,
kids, like Vision?
okay, that's a side thing. I was gonna say material properties like actual clothing, houses will probably just stay the same because when we can tell Wanda has the power to change things on the fly. Like last episode she was able to change her coat into like different styles of coats. So I don't see the like what's gonna limit them from like with the simulation breaks that being reverted back, unless Wanda purposely reverts it back. But other than that,
Yep.
I don't. I think it would probably stay the same. So the child and Vision, I think we're gonna save that for a bit later because that's huge. So we're gonna
The
go
very
on the
last
low side
thing,
for a second.
very last thing we unpacked. Sounds like a plan.
Fair enough. So we find again a few more answers, kind of like the helicopter and such. Jimmy Woo, Agent Jimmy Woo, was the one on the radio for the scene in episode 2. But it is cool that they can in some way reach Wanda. I think they're going to keep trying,
Yep.
like in different methods, because the second Monica got sucked in there, she forgot who she was. So that didn't work. But if they can keep getting radio stuff in there and convince Wanda that's like this is wrong, that like she's trapping these people, because there's more evidence that like Nathaniel suggested, and like we all have suggested that she's in full control of this kind of, almost that she doesn't want to leave. Like this is a coping mechanism, but I just don't know. Maybe they'll be able to they'll convince her it's wrong. But
Yeah.
I don't actually know what they'll do to get her out of there.
I'm still torn where my theory lays as to how much of control Wanda's in, whether she realizes what's happening or how much her mind is clouded, because as we can tell through 4 episodes, it's Wanda, but it's really not Wanda, right? Like there's clearly something not right there, clearly. And I mean, obviously she's only 3 weeks post Vision's brain getting ripped out of his head. So that was obviously a little bit traumatic, but I have a gut feeling that there's something else at work here, because otherwise we don't have a punchline unless Wanda goes total ape level bad on us in
Well,
2 episodes. But otherwise, we really don't have a punchline,
Hmm.
I feel
right?
like
We're going nowhere if Wanda's totally in control, unless she goes berserk, which I'd rather not see because I do enjoy Wanda as a good guy.
Me too.
yeah.
Like,
The
I just-
only way I can see her go berserk is if she loses Vision. If Vision
Well,
is
she-
taken
Well,
away
she's
from
gonna
her.
lose Vision.
Yeah, I
Vision's
know, but
dead.
like
Like,
that,
there's-
I could see her.
Sorry, spoiler
Unless,
alert,
like-
but
But I mean, unless like she has reanimated him somehow.
even then, it doesn't make any sense though, because like whole like Vision's core itself was found inside the Mind Stone, and that
Her
thing's
powers
gone.
are made by the Mind Stone.
Hmm.
You could stretch
So,
it. You could stretch it.
I
You could
guess.
stretch a lot of things in this universe.
I think for a theory was
It is a universe of gods and monsters, so
That's
and
fair.
other things.
Percy Jackson.
yeah. No, that's a crossover. I don't think we'll
That's
ever get to
later.
see.
That's later. That show will come out eventually. We'll
That'd be
review
a
that
weird
when that comes
crossover,
out too.
actually. You know,
That'd be
I
a
don't know how that's
really
gonna
weird.
work.
I'm interested to see if these Marvel shows will ever cross over, but I don't actually know, depending on when they take place.
If the
Yeah.
movies can cross over, the TV shows can definitely cross
Well,
over.
the plan is for like the movie characters to cross over in the TV shows and
Yeah.
vice versa. I just don't know if the TV shows themselves will cross over or
Yeah.
if they'll just go back into the movies.
Very
But-
well
That's-
could.
that's-
I mean,
it'll be
that's a
all
topic
timeline
for another
related,
day.
so, yeah.
Nat, you were saying something about a
Yes.
theory you had. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for sure, I think Wanda's most like I think she's in most control of like the superficial elements of everything that's happening. There might be some external forces that's like I think Austin said something about clouding her judgment. I'm guessing what it's doing is like revealing Wanda's like innermost desire of like dealing with everything. She wants control over everything. Like I don't think it's Wanda explicitly trying to do it, but like it's what she wants to do to protect herself.
Yep.
Which is why she's manifesting it by taking over like Westview essentially. And I don't know, the whole
Yes.
Westview thing is kind of weird, messed up, the whole that whole side. But I think it has to do with her obviously has to be coping with the events of everything that's happened. She had a rough life. Like first her brother gets
She has.
murdered and shot down by like Ultron, and then Vision gets his like brain like imploded essentially.
Yep.
So
And
she has a rough
Her
life. but,
parents
like,
are dead, and yes.
See,
The only person I'd say in the Marvel universe who has a rougher life is
Yep.
Thor.
Yeah,
he's a
'Cause
god. He
Thor's
can-
had a
he can
pretty
handle
rough
it.
life.
she's pretty
Yeah.
close though. She's pretty close though.
No, she's close. She's pretty
super
close.
powerful. See, I think just to double back on my theory, I think the big thing that's selling me that there's got to be something else is that we watched Wanda pretty much kill Vision. As tough as that was, she
Mhm.
still found the strength inside of her to think of the betterment of
To
people
do it.
and remove the Mind Stone from his head. So now, why
Mhm.
all of a sudden would she go nuts and take all these people who are actual real people, unless she's not aware that that what's actually happening, right? That's why would she?
That's
She's never had tendencies to do things like this before. She's always made
she's
the
been a
hard
good
decision,
person since.
right? She understood what she was doing when she took the Mind Stone out, right? So that's
Mhm.
Exactly.
that's my big question mark, which we may have to wait, honestly, 2 or 3 more episodes to find out, at least. So
Well, on that theory though, like we said at the beginning, and also yeah, I agree. Like Wanda, she's been a good person up since Age of Ultron when she started out as kind of a bad guy, but she changed her tune when
She was
people
just
were at
misguided.
risk.
She was just misguided.
She was misguided, exactly. But on your theory there, we said that this is a missing persons case. That's what they start out as. So as they're figuring out that all the people in this TV show are real, there was this board that I paused the episode so I could look at it, and it mostly showed just the various characters we've seen with IDs and things about them. But the character of Dottie and the character of Agnes, well, Dottie wasn't there at all, which makes me think maybe she's not real or there's something off about her. And then also the character of Agnes had no real ID. They had her picture, but they couldn't find an ID like they had for the others. Maybe it's nothing, but in Marvel, it's not usually nothing. And I think maybe just maybe Agnes or Dottie are part of controlling Wanda, like you said.
I gotta say,
So yeah, maybe we'll find out about that.
yeah, like
I
you
would hope
mentioned
so.
Dottie. Dottie was one who bled, right? She's
Yep.
the only one who
Yes,
actually showed
yes.
color. Which
Yep.
is really interesting
Yeah.
to note. Out of everything, I mean, besides like the drone,
Yep.
But she's the other only instance of color.
Yep.
And if she doesn't exist,
In those first two
that'd be-
episodes, yeah.
It's an interesting thing to note, right? I don't know what that means yet.
The other thing you got to think about is that now we know Herb's a real person, but
Mhm.
Agnes was really, really quick to out Geraldine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really,
Really
quick.
quick. Like really quick. Almost like she knew
Who she
beforehand.
was,
She
right?
was.
Yeah.
potentially.
Yeah.
Right? Plus Agnes, as I'm sold that she's lying about her husband. So that's another sketchy point for me. I'm sold that
That is
guy does
fair.
not exist, or that guy's just the bad guy. I'm one of the
Must be
two.
like the
Could
worst
be.
husband ever. Like,
We have
Honestly,
yet to see
on that
him. So
though, from what Herb said last episode, his whole we are all, I think he's now, what he was going to say is trapped, because we know they're not dead,
yes.
they're alive, they're real people.
Oh,
They're
the
not
doctor too.
So
They
we are
couldn't
all
leave.
trapped.
Yeah, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, the doctor couldn't leave, so they are real people who are trapped in there. And I think Herb had a second where he remembered who he is, because throughout we see these
Yeah.
people are kind of almost like drones. They're just like mindlessly doing their thing. Herb's cutting through a fence, like, but then for a moment there, he seemed to get through and be himself and be like, we're all, but he couldn't finish it. And then, like you said, Agnes stops him too. She stops him flat, and she wants Geraldine out of there, like she knows something's up.
Yep.
So
Really weird.
I definitely think she's up to something. I don't trust her. I
Nope.
don't trust her.
Nope.
Not one bit. So we get to see the flip side of the Monica confrontation with Wanda, and I thought it was a pretty interesting thing to see, like, because we just all of a sudden she was gone, and now we got to see exactly how Wanda booted her
Got
out
ejected,
out of her simulation. Ejected, yeah. Like
That was
Wanda
great.
got really angry, and she was like you're not my friend, you're not my neighbor, and now you're trespassing. And then she boots her out, and then she almost like looks as if she was kind of surprised by her magic, because it hasn't looked like that's how her magic looks in the real world. It hasn't looked exactly like that
no,
in the show yet.
nope.
So she was a little surprised by how normal it all looked. But something makes me suggest that she's also at least partially aware sometimes, whether she's casting a spell on herself or someone's controlling her to an extent. She was aware that this is not real. Kind of.
Yeah.
Because also when Vision comes in, as we see, should continue here, Vision comes in and she looks at him and he's dead. He's got the gaping hole in his head. He's black and white. And then we get to see, or she says the line, like, he's like, we don't have to stay here. And she said, yes, we do. Like, we have to stay here.
Yeah.
This is our home. Like, to me, that means I don't think they can leave.
No, I think she
Well, if
knows.
she leaves, if she leaves, it breaks everything, right? She physically can't leave.
Well, I think if she leaves, she knows that Vision's dead. I think that's the big one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whether the percentage of control she has in the world or not, I don't think she cares. I think she just knows that if she leaves, that's it. There's no more Vision. There's
Yeah.
probably no more kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
That sort of semblance of normal life that she's wanted her entire existence
Mhm.
goes out the window, right?
Is this a good segue into our theories for the Vision and the children?
Yeah.
To wrap up the episode.
Yep.
Yes,
Sounds like a plan.
What do you guys think? What are your big theories? Are they going to make it out of this? Are they, like, what is Vision like right now? What are the kids right now? Are they real sentient humans? Are they, like, what are they? What's your theory? Are they alive?
We think they're like, I don't know. We talked a bit before this episode, before we filmed, and I think we discussed how like Vision is probably like a reanimated corpse, potentially. That's probably why, for the brief second we see his like dead body floating around, because Monica, not Monica. Oh shoot, Wanda? Man, I don't know her.
There we go.
I just
the title.
brain farted.
WandaVision.
Yes, Wanda probably just like had a brief moment of like seeing her powers in actual use. Probably broke her concentration on something, and that's so we can see like Vision in his like decayed form. And then children is kind of a weird topic. We don't really understand how that happened. Her pregnancy was whack.
Yep.
So it's weird. And I think they might be like animated dolls. If Vision could be reanimated with life, maybe the children are animated with life. If they come back next episode as like full-grown humans, then I don't know what to say. Like I don't know what what can change from there.
Yeah, I think those children are a really big question mark because if Wanda can create life, right? Like if you think about it logistically, right? Vision is clearly dead. Vision's dead. Vision is a reanimation of some sort. The children are a massive question mark, whether they're reanimation like Nathaniel said, or whether Wanda pulled something out of nothing, right? Regardless, she's got two humans now, mini humans, right? So that leaves me with a really big question about all the real people in this simulation. Because if she can reanimate Vision, she can make little children. If she really wanted to, build the entire simulation on her brain, why are there real people?
Yes.
That's a good point.
Why aren't they
Who
all
could break their
why
simulation?
aren't they all created and controlled by her in a format where she could manipulate her mind just enough to not understand what's going on, like what we see right now? That's my big question mark. We have animated people and we have real people existing together. Yeah, just I don't think any of them, those three, I don't think any of them come out of this simulation alive. But like Nathaniel said, if those kids end up humans, I've got even more question marks. And if
Yeah,
if
that's
they
fair.
have powers, my brain
That's
is
even weirder,
blown.
like-
My brain's blown. Just
Yep. Honestly, yeah, that would be really surprising. Personally, I hope they make it out because I want it, especially Vision. I like Vision.
yeah.
I hope he's not done in the MCU. I hope, like, I know the actor Paul Bettany thought he was done after Infinity War, but he got brought back. But I hope he's still got more. I hope somehow she can bring him out, but I don't think she will. I think he's dead, unless maybe they can bring him back later. But I think by the end of this, he's not going to be brought. The children, I think maybe, because I don't know the way they're decade hopping. I think we will see them as little humans at some point,
That's
but
weird.
I don't know. So we'll see. So also let's just move right on to our theories for next week's episode. You think we're doing half and half between this real world sitcom, full sitcom next week, full real world? I don't think they do two in a row with this real world thing because we haven't seen Wanda really now for an episode, and she is the star of the show.
If
So
it's gonna be like an hour episodes, probably be half and half. If
Yeah.
it's only just another like sitcom episode, like half an hour, it's probably gonna be focused on Wanda. Maybe like the last 5 minutes will cut to the outside world at most, like the other episodes have done. But other than that, I don't know where the story is going because for now, like anything can happen. So
Alrighty,
know.
we haven't seen this in probably over a month, but hot take of the week from Austin. Here we go. I have a running theory that I think next week it's going to be a lot because we barely saw Wanda in this one. I think it's going to be a lot on the sitcom, but I think the outside world is going to start crashing in. I think we're going to see a lot of weird, abnormal things. I think we're going to jump another decade potentially. We might flash back a little bit, but I think we're going to stay away from the pure outside, two separate entities things. And I think they're just going to slowly crawl together. We're going to see Sword's efforts to sort of infiltrate or whatever you want to call it. But I think we're going to see it from the inside, not from the outside. So.
Yeah, like you, I definitely think we'll decade hop again because it's just been the kind of thing for the. But I think, like you, I think next week's going to be mostly sitcom, and we'll just see it. It will just see a bit of the infiltration, like we'll see as they try and get into Westview more and more. I personally think that the last 3 episodes, like, will be an hour, so then I think we might see half and half. But I don't know if we're at that point yet. I think they still got more just Wanda story to tell with more hints or bigger hints, of course, of what's actually happening out there now that we know what's actually happening out there.
Yeah.
So I
absolutely.
think we'll kind of see a little bit more of both, but I think next week we'll have an intro, a commercial, and be more Wanda and Vision centric. Personally, that's what I think. I mean, who knows? We could be completely wrong. So, but I'm excited. This show keeps me excited.
Absolutely.
That it does. And so if you guys do you have any more thoughts?
Nope,
Yeah, we're
that's
good.
it. I'm done.
Okie dokie then. So if you guys like this stuff, I'd suggest go checking us out on our socials. We are on Instagram, we are on Twitter, We are on Facebook. Go check us out at Prairie Grown Reviews on all of them, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Prairie Reviews on Twitter. They have a use. They
Right.
have a character
Prairie
limit.
Reviews on Twitter.
Ah.
Right. And if you like more books and movies and game type stuff, go check out our website at www.prairiegrownreviews.com to see all our different reviews we've done so far in written form. So from everyone here at the Prairie Grown Reviews team, I'd like to ask you to subscribe, click that bell for notifications, and like this video. And we'll see you next time.